Thank you for joining me in conversations with leaders who are using the Enneagram as a leadership tool and a tool for personal growth and development. Today, I'll be speaking with Scott Schlegel, Director of Membership Experience at Spanish Hills Country Club in Camarillo, California. Scott's been using the Enneagram for about 15 years and gives us a peek under the hood of what's going on in the mind of Enneagram Type 5. If you enjoy these conversations, please click on the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. And now for the conversation. I'm delighted to be speaking today with Scott Schlegel. Scott's held a number of management positions at golf country clubs. He's a golf pro, and he currently holds the position of director of membership experience, undoubtedly because he's so thoughtful, friendly, and conscientious.
Well, thank you,
And
Matthew. Pleasure to be here, obviously.
and yes, we share the same last name because we are brothers. And I'm guessing it was about 15 years ago when I first introduced the Enneagram to you. So I am eager to hear how you're using it in your current role. So thank you, Scott, for being here today.
Yeah, no, thanks, Matt. Yeah, when you introduced me to the Enneagram, it opened my eyes a little bit to how these certain types of personalities come out in all of us, and you can trace it back as you do in the Enneagram to your behavior, early in life and growing into your adulthood. And it's actually been quite useful in many aspects in my current job here. At Spanish Hills, we have about 130 employees at the club, and yeah, it helps kind of navigate through the relationships that you build with the other team members that you're at, wherever you work at, in this case, a country club, and the different departments that are formed. And, you have a tennis pro, you have a golf pro, you have obviously a membership salesperson as myself, a general manager at the club, a chef. Chefs have a definite personality type, and it seems like that they fit their little niche pretty well. I've run into quite a few chefs at this point, and they're similar. Of course, they're different. They're human beings, but they're similar but different. But it's really been the Enneagram's a pretty good tool for me to use to anticipate. I hate to say anticipate someone's behavior, but it really kind of does help do that. It's
Sure
helped
can.
me to, yeah, it's helped me to kind of know what someone's reaction is going to be to certain, challenging or even just pleasant, experiences that they have. So it's been a good tool, and I thank you for introducing me to it. And I have subsequently introduced it to quite a few of the coworkers and team members here at the club, and we talk about it from time to time, and it's really a pretty good tool.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, you have a lot of moving parts going on at the country club and a lot of different personalities to deal with. So that's fascinating. And then
Yeah.
also you're dealing with members as well and understanding those dynamics. But before we get into that, I wanted to ask you, when you were first learning the Enneagram, what did you discover about yourself that you really didn't know or appreciate before?
I guess a part of I've self-diagnosed, and I think that you helped me to do that as well, as a 5 on the Enneagram, and I can see some real definitive behaviors that I probably expressed that you've seen and noticed and can identify. And it's helped me to identify some of, I don't want to call them shortcomings, just my behavior, my behavioral patterns. I know that um, I do like to stay within myself. I don't like to share too much about what's going on in my mind with everybody. And that whether or not that, advances my career or advances any behavior that I have towards the other team members of the club, it just is what it is. But I've learned to recognize that to some
Yeah.
extent, and whether I can make some improvements on myself, and I try to. Um, Obviously we've talked about this a little bit, and as a 5, of course, I'm going to be a little bit of a chameleon, and sometimes I'll jump into the 7 skin um, to entertain the crowd, so to speak. And some of the job title that I carry has me emceeing certain events, whether it's a golf tournament or even a party out at the pool with a Vegas casino style night, and someone's got to MC that event and keep it going and keep it happy and keep it fun. So when you're standing in front of a crowd of 150 to 250 people, I have become very comfortable in those situations, and I
That's
don't know if
amazing.
that, yeah, I don't
That's
know if that's a
amazing for a
five.
five
Yeah, I
that
don't know if that's a
that you're
five thing.
there
I
and
think
you're
it
able
to
to
me
tap into that seven energy to do it. That's
exactly.
really cool.
Yeah, no, I think that I do that. I don't know if it's consciously, but I know how to act like a seven. Obviously, we've talked about this too, and whether your audience knows or not, our father was a seven. We're pretty sure of that, I guess. Um, and so I sometimes find myself challenging or channeling him in a lot of my behavior,
Right.
I think that it's benefited me pretty well, in the career path that I've taken.
Oh yeah, to have him as a role model and be able to just emulate those behaviors and
Yep.
that fun life of the party role that he
Yeah.
could play.
Yep. Yep. And that's funny. We've as we've discussed these issues in the past, there's a couple of very let's just say very well-rounded professionals that I've also tried to emulate in my career a little bit too, to make sure that I'm projecting the position that I'm in, you don't even probably know this, but just recently I will be, or we're in the very near future, I'll be changing into the director of golf position, so back
Okay.
into the golf business here at the club, um, which is the leader of the golf operations at the club. And so I've been wearing many hats at the club, and again, I think it's my ability to navigate the personalities of everyone on the team. I think, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think that if you asked around, the club and even the membership and employees and team members all together, uh, you know, everyone seems to kind of like the energy that I put out. I think as a five, I do like being well liked.
Right.
So I enjoy that. I enjoy
Oh,
that very
that's
much.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you have a specific example of how you've used the Enneagram lately at work?
Well, yeah, not that long ago, we had a very strong eight as the general manager at the club, and she was very demanding and but at the same time very protective of a lot of the people on the team. I did find her, her mood swings would be a little up and down, but she was, I don't want to say a perfectionist, but she definitely was very demanding. And I think that I used some of the knowledge that you and I have discussed over the years, about how to just interact with an eight, without attempting to be manipulative, but definitely knowing how the mind of an eight works, can help you to navigate when that said eight is your boss,
Right.
and you have reports you need to get done and ideas that you're going back and forth on and with, and making sure that you at least get your point of view out there, and necessarily I'm not necessarily going to always get my way, and I can, I feel my personality definitely lends to, if I need to, I'll take the back seat and just ride along with the team.
Yeah.
But then again, if I need to jump into the skin of the seven, as we've been doing lately, I can try to be the life of the party. And to some extent, I'm decent at that. I'm pretty good at
Right.
that,
Right.
Matthew. So
Well,
it's been fun.
yeah, the five and the eight can form a really great working relationship.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Me
eights
and
want you
twos
to
and
get to
eights.
the point.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could get to the point. Um, you know, eights want to feel in control. Fives can let eights feel in control. Fives are going to have some ideas they want to share, but they're not going to be super assertive about it. They can just slide it in and let the eight kind of ruminate on it or work their intuition on it to
Yeah.
come out to see if it influences the direction. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm glad to hear that that all worked out well.
Well, yeah, we talked about that, and not necessarily needing to win every single interaction that you have, or feel like you come out on top with your idea being pressed forward. Um, when we talked about this, introducing just a small nugget of information, and then maybe let the eight run with it. Think about it overnight, and magically next day, your idea gets kind of put on the whiteboard, and we all start talking about it. And whether or not we run with it, at least you got my point of view out there. So it's been good. Again, I think that it helps. I don't know if it necessarily suits a five. I think that it does. That I have a more even keel demeanor. I try not to get too high or too low. And I don't know if that necessarily fits every aspect of a five, but I do feel like when something gets very excited and everyone's running around a little bit in a panic, so to speak, I can keep my head.
Right. Right.
And again, I'm saying, I'm not necessarily saying that I'm always right about things, but it almost will. I'll come off, as that duck on a pond with the above water looks very calm and cool, with
Yeah.
the feet just paddling like the Dickens down below. So
Calm, cool,
um,
and collected.
calm, cool, and collected, and but little do they know that I'm working my butt off to try to keep that keel even, so to speak.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's a great story, Scott. So, just one last question. What advice would you give to other leaders of your type, of Enneagram Type 5?
Well, I think a lot of times a five will want to close the door to his or her office, and maybe be a little more studious about things and try to figure it out by themselves. And sometimes to their detriment. It can work, but when you're dealing with a team of, in my case, 130 people that we're managing, and we got department heads, and we have 12 different managers, so to speak. So it has benefited me to be able to open that door and let people come in and listen to their ideas, and not feel offended, and not maybe release my ego. And I think that that's a big thing when you're working in a team environment with a lot of very strong personalities, and in the hospitality and entertainment type industry, which country clubs essentially are. I know there's some sport concept or aspects of the club, but it's like a big resort out there, and we're just trying to make everyone happy. So again, it's one of those things where you can gather three or four or five, or even all of the team together. We can talk about it, and I think as a five, you can sit back and take the input from others, and hopefully come out with an idea that is at least working towards success for the team. And I don't, again, I don't want to talk negatively about other personality types. I just think that, like I explained to you earlier, the eight seems to be, this is my idea, this is my show, we're going to run it my way. Where I feel like as a five, I get to sit back, listen to everyone's ideas, process it in my mind, and whether or not I come out with an idea that day or the next day, I think that it benefits the team to have that willingness to listen to everybody else, and accept the ideas, and then press forward with what we all think is the best idea for the team.
Right, right. Yeah, so what I heard there was that it's really important for fives on teams to actually engage with the teams, be out
So,
there, be
yep,
listening. Fives are great listeners, so that's a great go-to skill to lean on, and then give back to the team, and share your ideas, and make sure that they're folded into what everybody is thinking. So
right,
that is
right.
fantastic advice, Scott.
Thank you.
So, well,
Thanks.
thank you so much for taking the time to share your stories with us today, Scott. And
My pleasure.
I know as a five, these sharing stories can be a little, take some courage. So I really appreciate you doing that. And I hope that in the future that you can come back and share some new stories with us.
I would love to do that. Thanks for having me, Matt.
All
Appreciate it.
right, thank you, Scott.
All right,
Bye now.
brother. See you.
Thanks so much for watching. I really enjoyed the way Scott shared the stories about how he is able to interpret what was required of a situation and then come out in that role. And that is really one of the superpowers of Type 5, is to be able to put themselves into a role and play that role. And so even the quiet 5 can come out as the MC of an event and look like a 7 if that's what is required of the situation. I thought Scott really did a great job of sharing that and those experiences. So thanks again to Scott, and thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please click on the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and get notifications of future episodes. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section and I'll respond as soon as possible. Thanks again.